27th County Council meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation by Mark Larson.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord God, we thank you for bringing us here this evening. We thank you for keeping us safe during the past storms. We ask that you let us be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger as we all get together and make decisions that are important to this county. Let us remember those who are here with us, remember those who are not here with us. Lord, we ask you to help us bless those that we are supposed to be helping and making decisions for this whole county, a great place to live. Can we thank you for all you do, and again, bless this council and everyone that's here this evening. Thank you.
Amen. Amen.
This meeting was advertised in compliance with the Freedom of Information Act, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Brock. I'd like to entertain a motion for approval of the agenda.
I'll make the motion.
A second. Okay, second by Councilman Bartholomew. Without objection, the agenda is approved. The approval of the minutes were included in the packet. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Brown, a second to approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
All right, without objection, the minutes from the last meeting are approved. At this time, we will hear from our administrator, Michael Moore.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of council. Tonight we're going to recognize some of our employees, and specifically some employees who actually work down on Hilton Head. We're going to take advantage of that opportunity to recognize them. Before we do so, I just wanted to recognize county staff across the board for the response over the last week with the storms. A lot of really hard work was put in to get things cleared and respond. So with our Public Works Department, our public safety, first responders, HR, and then all our executive team, as well as the airports. A lot of work was done to get things back open with the airport and the convenience centers early on Saturday. So I just want to point that out. There's a lot of names, so I don't have them all, but I just want to point that out. Okay, for recognition of county employees, first one, we have the Beaufort County Probate Court here on Hilton Head, Miss Pam John. Hey. So her title is Clerk of Court, Assistant Division Chief. She's been with the county for 7 years. Her job duties, she schedules and conducts appointments for marriage license applications and assists the probate judge with court hearings, primarily related to conservatorships and guardianships and mental health cases. Something unique about Pam to share publicly, she's an animal advocate who spent many years finding homes for stray cats and dogs. She dedicates a good part of her Sundays caring for feral cats and plans to open a cat sanctuary as soon as she wins the lottery. So, from all of us, thank you.
Thank you. Would you like to say something? Oh, okay.
I was like, nope.
Okay, next up from our library, Miss Susan Moore. Hi, come on. You can come on over, Susan. Her title is Circulation Manager here at the Hilton Head Branch Library. Been with the county for 9.5 years. That's great. Summary of job duties. She supervises a wonderful team of 7 employees, making sure they have their schedules in place, keeping track of timesheets, and offering support with patrons' accounts whenever needed. She also manages the daily cash received from fines, prints, and copies, takes care of monthly supply requests, and adds some creative flair to decorate the library for each season. That's great.
Unfortunately, since we've been off so
Uh-oh, snowflakes, right? Yeah. Oh, Valentine's Day, of course. Something unique to share. Not unique, but she worked 4 summers in Yellowstone National Park. That's neat.
Oh, cool.
The experience provided Susan with a lifelong love of nature. She enjoys walking in forests, mountains, beaches, and along the bike path on Beach City Road during lunch breaks. So, with that said, thank you. We'll get a picture.
Would you like to say something?
Okay, no problem.
although you did do a wonderful job, I must
Okay, thank you.
appreciate it, the fact that no one did help.
We want everybody to be safe, so thank you. And then next from the library is Julie Bascom. Oh, there's Julie. Okay. Her position title is Youth Services Manager at the Hilton Head Branch Library. Been with the county for 12 and a half years. It's great. Summary of job duties: she coordinates all the services, activities, and resources for kids on Hilton Head from birth up to age 17, along with their families and caregivers. Something unique. In between watching sports, walking her dog, and eating out, she usually has 4 books going at one time. That's pretty good. An adult ebook, a kids or teen book, an audiobook, and a book in traditional format. And she keeps all the plots straight. I couldn't do it most of the time. So thank you.
You want to say a few words, don't you?
I'll just say, I just love working with the children here and their family.
Grateful for it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'd like to provide an update. At the last council meeting, there was discussion concerning the green space penny sales tax and what the collection dates were and when collection of the tax would cease. So I'm going to provide an update on that. Our CFO, Pinky, contacted the South Carolina Department of Revenue and was their opinion that the tax would continue to be collected until April 30th, 2025 because of the wording of the related statute. Now, legal reviewed this and the referendum and opined that the tax should be collected from May 1st, 2023 until April 30, 2025, or when the $100 million is collected, whichever came earlier. So we engaged with Senator Davis on this to assist the county in talking with DOR that because we've collected the $100 million, collection of the penny sales tax should cease. Upon contacting Senator Davis, he was very much supportive and concurred with our opinion. He agreed to communicate with DOR, and he spoke with the director and gained their concurrence that the correct interpretation was for the collection of the tax to cease now that the $100 million had been collected. DOR now agrees with that position and that they would take the necessary steps to inform all to cease collection of the tax. We got a follow-up email that the tax will terminate on February 25th, February 28th, 2025. This is the earliest termination date possible due to the necessary internal systems updates and taxpayer notification. And we'd like to thank Senator Davis for his assistance in this matter.
Thank you.
Subject to any questions, that's my update.
Anyone have any questions about the green space penny tax? We've all gotten a lot of questions about it. I'm glad we got
So
an
February
answer.
28th is the date it will stop.
Stop.
It will collect a little bit more, obviously, than 100 million, but that could be used for green space is what we've been told. You're welcome.
Moving on to public comment period. We have 6 people, and I'd like to remind everyone about public comment. Every member of the public who's recognized shall limit comments to 3 minutes and observe the following protocol. Address the chairman, and in speaking, avoid disrespect to council and any personalities. Confine themselves to questions under the jurisdiction of the council. Be mindful and respectful of those who are present and others who may be watching on television. So the first person who signed up, if he'll come forward, is Mr. Thomas Barnwell, and he's going to talk about Highway 278.
Good evening, Madam Chairperson, as well as members of the council, also those who are observing from the public. For the record, my name is Thomas C. Barnwell, Jr. I have only been on the island for 89 years. I am a full-time resident of Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, live on Katie Miller Drive, and I'm here because my cousins, who also own property on Hilton Head Island, read the newspapers, and they're concerned about snow and hurricanes, and as well as all the other good things that you're helping to happen. The hurricane and snow wasn't very good, but the good things that you're doing. And they said, you need to go down to the county council and ask. First, they said, I should thank you, each of you, for all of the services that you are providing to Beaufort County residents. For that, they said, Tom, before you do anything, you must be sure to thank them. So I've done that. And they said that I'm supposed to indicate that according to the state engineers, at some point, the state engineers indicated that bridges between Hilton Head Island and Moss Creek is in need of repair or replacement. And they said that you should indicate that you are asking for help in having the repairs done or the bridge replaced within the time limit that's still available as it relates to the information from Senator Tom Davis, a member of the state legislature, who have been working very close with the town council of Hilton Head Island. And I believe at least 2 members of the town council are probably here this evening, and they have been working on this project for many years. And there's a time frame that they, as well as you, have available to take certain actions. And apparently they're very numerous. And I pause when I say numerous because I listened at the workshop that they had today. Now, many members of the community, as well as myself and my family indicated that because of generational opportunities, we now pay on one property $553,736.68 per year. So I'm not here without skin in the game, as the people say. They sent me here because we are part of this community economically.
Okay,
And we
we're
are
getting
concerned.
close to the end.
Excuse me?
The time's up, sir.
My time's up. Okay.
Yes, sir.
We certainly hope that you will work with, council will work with the town council per our request prior to the deadline. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next is Ms. Hubbard or Michael Hubbard? Mr. Hubbard. Is that Michael?
It is.
Okay. And the subject is DeFusky Ferry.
amongst other things. Actually, good evening. I'm Michael Hubbard. I'm the chair of the Daufuskie Island Council. I live at 20 Toby Place in the Historic District. We have quite a few members of the community here tonight. I think most of their issues will revolve around the ferry. Tomorrow night, the council will be meeting to, one of our items on the agenda will be to approve a resolution, again, reiterating the council's position that the Low Country Ferry contract be terminated and replaced. Last week, we celebrated the first anniversary of the ferry contract. The situation has not improved. The snow was a reminder that there are a number of problems with the ferry. The ferry didn't get back up operational until Saturday. We've had issues with the charges that the passengers have been paying, and the concern now is that when the passengers go over and bring back groceries and other necessary items, that they're going to end up paying additional fees on top of what they would be normally paying because they're having to go buy more goods. So this is a real concern. I think others will be speaking on that matter this evening. There's another issue that we're concerned about, and that is the dock at Melrose Landing, and that's where we get on the ferry on the Daufuskie side. There has not been an inspection because of that dock, which is in poor condition, and we've asked that be done, but there's no claim to ownership of who would be responsible for doing the inspection. I think the county has done an inspection on their side, on the Pinckney Island dock. This is all came out of the Sapelo Island incident 3 months ago. And so the biggest concern that we have is the fees on the ferry and the concerns with the ongoing poor service. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, next is Miss Sally Ann Robertson, and the subject is Daufuskie Ferry.
Let me first say that I have sent letters to each one of you, and I hope if I don't fulfill my reading of this letter today, that you please read it for our sake. And I grew up on Daufuskie Island. I am sixth generation born native. I grew up where you treat people the way you want to be treated. And coming here tonight is very hard for me because we've been dealing with a very bad situation with the ferry. What hurts more than anything is the charges. I can take my books over, but I got to pay to bring them back. These are my books. This is what I make my livelihood of partly. I can take my suitcase over. If I bring grocery with it, I got to pay to bring my suitcase back. The very clothes that I deal with. Most of all, I have heard folks been told that they didn't ask to be there, you're spoiled, all these things. But what I'm here today is to find out, as a sixth generation born native, what do you tell me? That I got to leave because the ferry isn't right? I'm asking and pleading. I'm not just asking, but I'm pleading with each and every one of you to please understand our situation that we have. It's easy to be on the outside looking in. We are on the inside. We're dealing with this. We have to make decision of our needs and our wants. I've had groceries spoil in my car. I still have stuff in my car I can't bring because unless I pay an extra charge. We have never had a service of this kind. It is the worst, and I'm saying the worst that we've ever had to charge us for our needs. We're not asking for over-the-top things. We're asking for our needs, our food, our daily stuff that we have to have. To bring two flats of water is pretty much 100 pounds or more. That mean I can't have grocery? I have to choose between water and grocery? It just doesn't make sense to have a ferry that's serving us that's not meeting our needs. We We were told that we had the right to bring a buggy with 100 pounds. It depends on the size of the buggy. It depends on how you stack it. You can't overstack it. Like, why all the rules and changes for us who have a need that everybody else get elsewhere and don't have to pay the costs? We live on Defusky for a very great reason. We love it there, but we still have to survive there. And surviving there means we have to be met our needs of groceries and our goods. You can't bring chicken feed because there's an overcharge on it. I don't understand where all of this has come from. And I don't know if you all are familiar with what's going on, but please know that a lot is going on that you may not know about that we're bringing to you. And please just listen and help us. We need help, and we need a better service.
Thank you, Ms. Robertson.
Thank you. And I have some pictures I'd like to share. And these are pictures of the tent. And it needs to be fixed, please.
We'll give these back to you.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, Mr. Alex Cruden, good government's the subject.
Well, thank you. I'm Alex Cruden, and I appreciate that you brought this meeting to Hilton Head. I've been a residential property owner in Beaufort County for 20 years, and this is my first county council meeting. And I'm here because I now feel some confidence, some cause for confidence in the leadership of this body. And I just want to affirm that you're off in, I think, is excellent direction. I hope you keep going. I hope you're able to respond to the genuine needs in a transparent and straightforward way, such as the needs that Sally Ann Robinson just expressed. So I'm thanking you for taking this approach, and let you know that my neighbors and friends feel the same way. So thank you.
Next is Yvonne Wilson, Defusky Ferry.
My name's Yvonne Wilson, and I live on Defusky. And concerning the ferry, I'm 71 years old, soon to be 72. My mother was born and raised on the island there, and all my life, Defusky has been like a peace of mind. You know, when I go home, that's home. But I tell you here, recently, with this ferry that's going on, it's crazy. I don't understand how the county could have neglect making sure that this man had 2 boats. Having what was supposed to be deemed for the boat to be able to carry us back and forth. At one time, when we had Hague Point taking us back and forth, we felt like we were people. Now we don't feel like we're people because we're not treated like people. We're treated like stepchildren. Cinderella type things, you know? I only get Social Security. I worked for the county for all like 29 years, 30 years. I cooked at the school. I cleaned at the school. I work at the museum. I had 3 jobs in order for me to take care of my 4 kids. My 4 kids. And each one of those jobs, I am now getting Social Security now, from now, okay? I get a little pension only. But when I take my money and go over to buy groceries, and it's a need, we don't have a grocery store in Defusky. We don't have no type of a way to get groceries there on the island. I went the other day to get a can of tomato sauce in order to make me some red rice. Thank you. It's the red rice. And I asked the guy at the store, I said, how much is the can? And he said, $2.25 for 1 can of tomato. And it not even the tomato sauce. It's tomato soup, Campbell's, yeah. And that was $2.25. Now, I can see me paying extra money when you bring stuff over. But I mean, to me, that's like gouging. You know, that's worse than our, when we go to get gas. We pay $5 a gallon of gas now for me to put gas in my truck on the Fusky. So, I mean, I'm telling you, we're just going from one extreme to the next. And like I say, I mean, it seems like y'all got this contract that you can't seem to do nothing with it. You got to find some kind of way to help us out there, you know? I mean, we're not asking for something that's unusual, and I'm sorry, but over time, because this is something that we need. It's not something that we want. So we are thanking you for listening to us.
Thank you. Chris Ruffner?
Hello, Chris Ruffner, Windmill Harbor. Kind of talking because I was 3.5 hours at the town hall and they didn't let me talk after sitting and listening to them forever. So anyhow, I just kind of wanted to say I probably won't be that popular because I'm not going to congratulate everybody for how things went this last week, because when I first came here in 2015 from Chicago, I was told there wasn't a hurricane for 125 years. So I thought, oh, good, you know. And then there was a hurricane like almost every year since I got here. And also, I had clients come in from Chicago this last week that spent their hard-earned money to come down to find a house here. They were worried about the hurricanes and the heat and humidity, and I convinced them to come down because I said, you don't have to shovel heat and humidity. Well, lo and behold, we got a snowstorm here. And there was the thing that I couldn't believe was we did have something similar in 2018. And when they were coming down, I thought, no problem. We had snow here. They shut the bridge down. We got a plan. And I didn't see any plan. I mean, maybe I don't know, because maybe there was a plan that I'm unaware of. But I still, being from Chicago, and my clients came in from Chicago, showed 6 properties in one day. So I went around in my big SUV, and it was nothing to me. My clients kind of went out. They wanted to go out on their own, and they were hit by a car in their rental car by somebody else. The streets were horrific. I could not believe how bad. This would have been like a walk in the park, a 2-hour inconvenience in Chicago, and you need to stay ahead of things. And I just would hope in the future that now that we see we might be in a different jet pattern, that we do have a plan and maybe contract with people up in the northern part of the state that do get snow on a regular basis in case we know that we might be getting weather like this, because as far as I remember, we had like a week's notice. It wasn't like this we thought overnight it rained and then it froze and we didn't know what was going on. We knew this for a week. I don't know why there wasn't some salt or something put down. And it seems like we should be making our roads out of this stuff, because we've been having, 50-degree plus days here for the last few days, and still it should have been totally melted. So I don't know why it's different here in the South, but it is. But I just, I think it was a terrible job as far as taking care of the roads. And I don't think telling people just to stay home in a lockdown, that sounds good, but there's a lot of people here that need chemo appointments, or, they're pregnant and they have to go get their appointments, or they have to go work because they're making an hourly wage. It's not that easy to just sit home and get paid like a government job and get paid anyway. So anyhow, thank you.
Thank you. That was all we had to sign up for public comment tonight. And at this time, we are going to ask county council members to give liaison and/or committee reports. And we'll start with Councilman McKellen. Do you have anything? And we'll go down the line all the way.
I'll defer to the chairman of the Natural Resources. I'm just a member there.
Have anything?
Don't have anything for community services at the moment because we haven't met yet. But as far as public facilities, we met, I guess at 3:30 or 4 o'clock today. And I just want to make sure that the folks that weren't at that meeting know that the consent agenda A lot of those items are, actually all of them are from that meeting since it got pushed back and rescheduled. It was supposed to be last week. Just want to make everybody aware of that for the consent agenda items.
Anything else as you need to share from your district?
No, well, from that public facilities meeting, there's a lot of work that's being done on community centers in the area, which is fantastic. It needs updating on a lot of these places. But we're also addressing some major drainage issues, especially in northern Beaufort County. And All Joy is also getting some updates on their boat launch. So a lot of good things in the works right now.
Is there a meeting on Ladies Island, is it this week or next week, concerning the 2018?
Yeah, there's when is that? I can't remember.
It's tonight.
Is it tonight?
It's
Thursday, yeah,
night.
yeah, Thursday
Okay.
night. Thanks, Jared.
Yeah, Thursday night at Ladies Island Middle School?
Yep.
And that's a public meeting? Okay. Vice Chair?
So I'd like to recognize Colonel Geyer. Where are you hiding
Right
from
there.
me? Where? Oh,
He's right there.
oh,
In the
stand up a
turtleneck.
second. He was elected chair of the Beaufort County School District, and so we should congratulate him. And the vice chair is Carlton Dallas. And where's Carlton? I missed
Here, I
him.
saw him walk in. There he
Oh,
is.
there's Carlton. And they will guide our school district. And these are two great men, and they have new members on the board, so you can mold them. And I just really am so excited always that our board is right on top of things, and Dr. Rodriguez is. So congrats to the two of you. And just a reminder to everybody, we have Chat with Council tomorrow night. It's our first one. It's at Bluffton Library. And for those of you who have not attended, there is no agenda. You come and it's your turn to interact with us. There's no administration, no staff. It's just council members. We hear you, we answer questions if need be. And there you go. It's at 6 o'clock tomorrow, Bluffton Library.
Okay, one thing I'd like to share, and I think you'll hear it from other council members, and Mark already mentioned it at the finance meeting. The Public Works people working with DOT did extraordinary work this past week. South Carolina DOT did a great job of supporting their neighbors here in Beaufort County. They brought in equipment from up north, and I know they all worked really hard in engineering and public works. And of course, our sheriff's department and our EMS did a fantastic job too, responding and keeping people safe over the unusual circumstances we had. Okay, you pass it.
Yes, I would also like to give a shout out to our administrator, Michael Moore. He's only been in this position for 7 months. And during that time, we've had not one hurricane, but we've had 2 hurricanes. And we just had a snowstorm. So I want all of us to thank Mike, give Mike a great big thank you for doing an excellent job.
Thanks for surviving.
Mark, your turn.
We had a finance committee meeting today. There was nothing that came out of that. However, we're getting into our busiest time of year for finance. Again, we'll be posting or posted the next meetings that we've got. And again, I also want to thank Mr. Moore for the wonderful job he's been doing. Kind of new ground, but again, things are running smoothly. I think we're building trust again with everything we're doing. So thank you.
Chairman of Natural Resources, York Lowe.
Madam Chairman, thank you. The natural resources the rural and critical board program. And some of those items on the agenda tonight, considered, one of them, it'll be on St. Helena Island for a little over 9 acres of land. Oh, you can't hear me? Oh, can you hear me now? Oh, yeah. Okay. Do I need to start all over?
No.
Thank you. 9 acres of land on St. Helena Island, and that's going to be really for conservation development, buying the development rights. And then there's on Hilton Head, It's called the Jonesville Road Track, 6.6 acres. That's being recommended at this time. And also on Hilton Head, about 3.5 acres, almost 3.5 acres, known as the Hilton Head Track, which is on 278, and I call it a donut hole fix for Hilton Head because Hilton Head currently owns some of the property centered around that, and this will basically complete that parcel of land that's on 278, which will be used primarily, I guess, for open space. So that'll come up on the agenda, and we'll go from there.
Anything from your district that you want to report? Anything from your district besides the meeting at Ladies Island?
No more than we did have a meeting in my district dealing with broadband for rural community, and unlike most of the urban areas of Beaufort County, the rural area of St. Helena and Sheldon, it's hard to get internet access, and one of the goals of county government for the last 6 years has been to be transparent. And it's hard to be transparent when all the major means of communication is the internet, and people in the areas, in the rural areas, don't have access to internet. So hopefully, over the next several years, because of the funding from the American Rescue Act, there's money there for broadband connection, and we're going to move forward with try to get as much broadband on St. Helena as possible. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Councilman Rentz, and then we'll go to the council members online. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. First of all, I want to thank everybody from the Hilton Head area and Defusky for being here. We always appreciate what matters most to you. Magistrate Galvin, how are you tonight? For the last couple years, I've had the opportunity to work with that young lady. She's our probate magistrate, and Ms. Johns. And I tell you, I think one of my first functions was to help them or work together to stay in business, keep the building open, and great support from the council members. But something took place. You came a little bit late, unfortunately. Something took place with one of your employees. Do you want to take a couple seconds and say something on our behalf? Please, I know you want to do that, and we appreciate all your efforts, Ms. Johns.
Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. Pam John has been an essential part of the Hilton Head office for many years now, and it's been a blessing to work with her. She's professional, kind, and dedicated in everything that the citizens of Hilton Head deserve. It's been a goal of mine, and I want to thank the councilman for helping to keep our building open so we can serve the residents of Hilton Head at the probate court. We're open 5 days a week at the probate court. I know other offices may not be open, but we really want to serve the public. We care about the residents of Hilton Head, and Ms. John is an exemplary person. And I drove from Beaufort, so that was the trick. I worked in Beaufort this morning, so I appreciate y'all, and thank you so much, and thank you, Ms. John. Thanks. Thank you.
Madam Chairman, it would be remiss if I don't acknowledge the fact that broadband is so valuable to communities that the school district having problems getting children doing their homework because they can't get access to internet. So, broadband was one of the major features for that, as well as healthcare that Mr. Barnwell worked for so many years. A lot of telemedicine right now is being done, and a lot of our elderly do not have broadband connection, so they cannot get access to telemedicine. Just want to make those.
Okay, all right, let's go to,
What? Oh, just one last thing. I wasn't finished there, but I
I'm
appreciate.
sorry. I'm sorry.
That's quite all right. Quite all right. During the finance meeting, we talked about work on stormwater, and I just want the folks that are listening from Bay Pines and Cedar Woods and Point Comfort to know that the work is going to be starting there soon. Approvals are being made in-house here, and we'll stay close to that for you. But that work, clearing those ditches out, getting that done will take place soon. So with that,
okay, let me go.
thank you.
Councilman Dawson?
It's okay.
Do you have anything to share with the council and the public?
Can you hear?
Yes, we
you hear me?
can. Mm-hmm.
All right, we're having technical time with the audio. Can you?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Okay. 3 o'clock Public Facilities Committee meeting, our interim Director of Capital Projects, Robert Giese. I don't know, I'm getting a lot of feedback over here.
You're fine, you're clear.
We can hear you clear.
Interim Director of Capital Projects, Robert Giese, gave an update renovations and upgrades that is going to be done at the Big State Community Center in the Big State community. I held a community meeting last Tuesday at the community center and invited our Director of Parks and Recreation, Eric Brown, to come out and give the community update on the renovations and upgrade that is going to be done to the center. We're in the process of redoing the lease. The previous lease, all 3 of the trustees that was on that lease have expired, passed away, and so we're in the process of selecting 3 new trustees and getting that information in that document into Mr. Brown's hands so that he can move forward with the project. So that's all I have for the Big State renovations of the Big State Community Center.
Thank you. Councilman Passmore, do you have any report?
No, I don't. We are having a great deal of difficulty. The picture stops all the time.
Is Councilman Cunningham on?
No, I don't think
I think he went back off. He was with us earlier. Okay.
He was having some issues.
He's having issues too. Okay, well, thank you. That concludes our reports on liaisons and committee reports from county council members. Next, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. These are items, as we heard earlier, that came forward from the Public Facilities Committee meeting.
I'll motion.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilman Brown. Do we have a second to approve the consent agenda?
I'll second it.
All right. All right. With no objections, this will be approved, the consent agenda. So as our custom that we have started, our vice chair is going to read through the ordinances for the third, second, and first reading at this time, and then after that, we will go back to the agenda regarding resolutions.
Thank you. So ordinance for third reading, 2025/02, is an ordinance amending the Community Development Code, Section A6.40, permitted activities, to allow lodging, short-term housing rental in Dale Community Preservation District, and Section A.7.40, to allow lodging, short-term rental in Dale Mixed Use District. The item was approved without objection at Community Services and Land Use Committee on November 12th. Mr. Dawson recused himself, and the vote at the first reading on December 9th was 10-0 with Mr. Dawson's recusal. The vote at the public hearing and second reading on January 13th was 9-0-1 with the recusal from Councilman Dawson. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Bartholomew. Second?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to recuse myself again.
Okay. He's consistent.
Okay.
I need a second.
I'll second.
Okay, second. Yeah. Rob, do you have anything to say? I mean, we've already beat this one up. I don't think Rob's even here, is he? Okay.
Chuck's here.
Oh, wait, yes.
I can answer any questions, but I don't have anything to add.
Anybody have a question? Just so everybody knows, this went to committee in 2 readings, as I already said. So is there any discussion on the part of council?
There's no discussion. other than we did at the last time, at both readings, include the reason why. Is that necessary at this time?
Mr. Bartholomew is going to do that?
Oh,
Yes.
I
thank you.
So, go ahead.
I move that we grant the request for the text amendment for the following reasons. One, it is consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the comprehensive plan. Two, it is not in conflict with any provision of this development code or the code of ordinances. It does address a demonstrated community need. It is consistent with the purpose and intent of the zones in this development code, or would improve compatibility among uses and ensure efficient development within the county. It would result in a logical and orderly development pattern, and it would not result in adverse impacts on the natural environment, including but not limited to water, air, noise, stormwater management, wildlife, vegetation, wetlands, and natural functioning of the environment.
Anybody else have a comment? All right, so I'd like to take a vote by show of hands if you approve the motion on the floor. Anybody opposed? Okay, thank you. All right, moving on, 2025/03 is an ordinance authorizing the county administrator to execute any and all necessary, yes. Oh, yes. Well, you want to text him or something? Okay. Yes, we have to let Gerald come back into the real world.
What happened to him?
He recused himself. She's going to text him. Yeah, you can if you want. Tell him to come back to the video.
Okay.
Must have thought we were going to have a long discussion. There he is, okay.
Start reading.
Welcome back, Mr. Dawson. All right, 2025/03 is an ordinance authorizing the county administrator to execute any and all necessary documents for the acceptance of right-of-way or temporary construction easements on real property associated with Stewart Point Road Sidewalk Project. First, vote at the first reading on December 9th was 11-0. Vote at the public hearing and second reading on January 13th was 10-0. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. We can have Jared speak on it if anyone has a question, but again, this is third reading, so it's been through committee and 2 readings. I know sometimes people say you people just vote for everything, but it's already been talked about 3 times. Any discussion? All right, I'd like to say vote by show of hands if you are in favor of this one, of the motion. We have 2 in line. Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you. 2025/04 is an ordinance authorizing the county administrator to enter into a lease agreement with Mitchellville Preservation Project for Suite 134 and Suite 142 of the county-owned office building located at 539 William Hilton Parkway on Hilton Head Island. The vote at the first reading on December 9th was 11-0. Vote at the public hearing and second reading January 13th was 10-0. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Reeds.
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Bartholomew. Any question? I can have Hank come up and talk about it if need be. We're just letting them use our property. Question, discussion? All right, I'd like a vote by show of hands. In favor? Okay, and we're online. All right, it's unanimous. Thank you. Now we're going to ordinances for second reading, and normally we would have the public hearing, but I'll explain that in a moment. 2025/06, an ordinance placing land purchase by Project Micro into an existing multi-county industrial park. The vote at the first reading on January 13th was 10-0. The public hearing will be at third reading on February 10th because we had to comply with the 15-day requirement of publication. So there will be no public hearing at this one. It'll be at February 10th. So can I have a motion for this one?
A motion.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Mr. O'Toole, is he here? Yeah. Do you want to say anything about this for the public? Well, we're not going to run you out. It's okay.
Well, last time I got a little long.
Oh, they gave you the high sign? Okay,
Yes, so I'm
maybe
gonna
just
be
for
on-
the public education.
Sarah, put the timer on, will you?
Thank you. Well, with all that, it is a pleasure to be with you all, and I'm so glad you are on Hilton Head Island tonight. It makes it easy for me. This is a great project. You've heard about it before. But it's a company, aerospace company. A lot of people want to know why we're not doing more in aerospace, but we are. This company is going to buy the building on Trask Parkway. I believe it's 1236 Trask Parkway, invest $7 million. They want to expand the facility. They're going to employ better than 40 people there, and the average comp is over $100,000. So it's a great jobs for Beaufort County. The company involved here is also community-minded. They are the premier sponsor of the upcoming Marine Air Show, which will be on April 12th and 13th. When Councilman Dawson and I met with the principals of the company, they said, we really love the way we're being treated here in Beaufort County. What can we do to help you? We said, you could give us 5 great leads in aerospace. They're going to actually have 100 of their customers in town for the air show. So treating companies well like this leads to more business, and I'm thankful for your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone, council, have a question or discussion item? All right, I'd like to have a vote by hand. Those in favor of this ordinance? Okay, and the next one is 2025, that was, well, we have one person not present, but you saw that. 2025/07 is an ordinance for Beaufort County to enter into a special source revenue credit agreement with Project Micro, the one Mr. O'Toole just talked about. First, vote at first reading on January 13th was 10-0. The public hearing will be at the third reading on February 10th to comply with the 15-day requirement. So can I have a motion for this one?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Bartholomew. A second?
A second.
Thank you, Mr. Glover. And Mr. O'Toole already talked about what the project is, and we've talked about this before, but there will be a hearing on February 10th for third reading. Any other discussion or question by anybody on council? All right, a vote for, if you're for the motion, raise your hand, please. Show of hands. Okay, we're unanimous. Well, -1. Thank you.
Joe just came back.
It's back. Joe, we just did number, whatever it is here, 11B, the micro project. The special source revenue. You vote yes for that or no? Yeah, okay. All right, these are first reading. That means they've been through committee, but this is first reading for council. 2025/08 is an ordinance amending the ordinance 2024/36, conveying property to Beaufort Memorial Hospital for the development of affordable housing and medical offices in Bluffton, located at 333 and 335 Buckwalter Parkway.
So moved.
Mr. Bartholomew moves it. A second?
Second it.
Second by Mr. Lawson. I don't think Mr. Baxley's here, right? Oh, and Hank would like to speak. This would be good so we can inform the public what this one's all about.
Fortunately, Russell and Allison, their attorney, both had conflicts come up at the last minute. But just as a refresher, this is an exciting project that we've been working on for a while where we conveyed property to the hospital. They have moved forward with the town on plans and approvals. However, there was very broad language in the first ordinance conveying the property. And so, as Russell explained at committee in depth, there are certain standards that are going to be put in that we, as you can see, it's in your backup, the recommended edits to have I believe it's 30 years as opposed to the infinite requirement, which is not a standard thing. And additionally, we put in language about how the county would recoup any expense plus appreciation if something would cease prior to that period being expired. However, the developer, Woda Cooper Company, who's partnered with the hospital, has a history of keeping their properties much longer. This is just standardizing the language from how investors and developers get these projects done.
And again, this is on Buckwalter Parkway, 333 and 335. And I think there is a map in the backup. All right,
How
thank
many
you.
units they're gonna?
I believe it's 125 units. And the good part about Woda Cooper Company is we talk a lot about what the percent of AMI is. A lot of times it's very high. They're doing a mix all the way from 80% down to 40%. So there will be a good mix of true affordable and workforce housing in the development.
For the public, will you tell them what AMI is?
So yes, so that is how we judge what the average income is for somebody, and they can't spend X amount above X percentage of their income on rent. And so a lot of times we might say something is affordable because it's less than the average income. However, in certain pockets of our county, the average income is pretty high, and sometimes it's low. So with 40% is a very good percentage to serve. A lot of times people like to get into that high 80s to 120, and it is not affordable by the true definition. And so this is Woda Cooper Company and the hospital are trying to serve the nurses, the teachers, and those people that really have a need in the area. And the good part about the property is it's right in the middle of all the other services.
Anybody else question or discussion? And anyone in the audience that'd like to know more about AMI, you can read the housing impact analysis, which is on our website somewhere. It goes in great detail. All right, let's have a vote. All those in favor of this motion, raise your hand. And we have unanimous. Thank you, gentlemen. 2025/09 is an ordinance authorizing the county administrator to execute the necessary documents and provide funding for the development rights purchase of real property identified as tax map serial number R300 028 30 128B 30 128C 128D, and also known as Seaside Road. And so can I have a motion for that, please?
Madam Chairman, I would, my pleasure to offer that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Glover.
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Bartholomew. Can we have Amanda come up and talk a little bit about this?
Kate's going to come up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kate's here. So this is going to be through rural and critical lands, so Ms. Schaefer.
Thank you. This is Kate Schaefer with the Open Land Trust, standing in for Amanda Flake this evening. But we serve as contractors to the program and will hold the conservation easement on this property. This is in a location on Seaside Road that's currently a pecan grove, and the conservation easement will encourage agricultural uses, providing for its ability to stay that way. It's in a marsh migration corridor and eliminating dock frontage along Clubridge Creek, and is in a conservation priority area. So that's a little update on the project.
Anybody have a question on that? Yes.
Where's Seaside Road?
On St. Helena.
And how much what's the,
This is a small property. How
much is it?
And
How much was
the
paid?
cost to the county for the conservation easement is $374,000.
374,000?
Yes.
9.3 acres.
Yes. Under the small lot subdivision standards on St. Helena, that actually can be developed quite densely. So this easement does remove density from the table, and that's where the appraiser derives easement value. Just as a refresher, when a conservation easement appraisal is completed, your appraiser is going to hand the rural and critical staff and board three numbers: a unencumbered number, what the property is likely to sell for on the open market as is; an encumbered number, the value of the property after the conservation easement is placed on it, and the delta between the two is often referred to as the conservation easement value, and that's the value that we are paying for, essentially because that's the value of the development rights that property owner is giving up by restricting his or her property from residential, commercial, industrial development, cell towers, those types of things, and retaining the rights to grow food, grow trees, and maintain a family residence.
Has it been appraised?
Yes.
Did we go out for 3 bids on the appraiser? Is that what we did?
For this one, yes. For rural and critical, we follow county procurement rules, and if it's under, a certain price, there's one bid. If it's under another price, it's 2. If it's under another price, it's 3. I don't remember where this one fell in. But we did follow county procurement, which is typical of all rural and critical programs, and the appraisal was returned to the rural and critical board and to county staff.
And do we know, I mean, after last year, we had a problem. No one in the county owns this property? A relative, someone that works for the county own this property?
No, ma'am.
Did they did due diligence, I take it?
Yes, there was title research that was done. A survey's been completed, a phase 1 environmental analysis to confirm there's no site contamination, and the appraisal.
And that is that in the packet, our packet?
Yes.
That's all in our packet?
Yes, and that was all completed prior to rural and critical board review as well, which is why they felt comfortable making the recommendation to your Natural Resources Committee. Mr. Inabinet is the property owner, and he's a small farmer in Beaufort County. Luke Inabinet.
I want to also say that Club Bridge was actually the creek that was used before there was a bridge for industry. The mail came through Club Bridge, cotton left St. Helena Island through Club Bridge, and it is a deep water property, and it's right on that creek, so this is actually very valuable property for anybody who wants to be on deep water, because he has deep water. So even though it's only 9.3 acres, it's really it's good to get this off the market. And it's also what Kate said earlier, Ms. Schaefer said earlier, that it's in the area of conservation that we're really trying to obtain in that same area. Yeah.
That's right. There are several conservation easements along Seaside Road on family farms of various sizes. There's also unprotected property along Seaside Road that is conservation priority in the future, whether that comes with rural and critical funding or green space funding or landowner donation. This is a conservation priority area.
You know,
Any
when
other
I read the
questions?
packet with this, I saw how many pages?
Yeah, y'all had all of the due diligence in the packet. I was kind of
Just
blown
so
away when I
yeah.
downloaded it.
So everybody knows the packet's 761 pages long.
Yeah.
And I started reading through this, I'm like, oh my goodness. I mean, because you have the appraisal in there, you have all the deed.
And the
then you have
contractor
some
who
great
does-
pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought, oh,
Yeah.
you want to make sure we do our homework.
So
Yes.
does rural and critical lands have the money to purchase this?
Yes.
Oh, it is.
This would obligate some of the remaining funds from the 2018 bond referendum. As you heard at Natural Resources, your Rural and Critical Lands Board has been really diligent and very thoughtful about how to best spend that remaining money, because we know that 2018 was the last time the county took the Rural and Critical program to voters and also took the money to the bond market. And so we have a limited resource. We don't want to spend more than we have, but honestly, we don't want to spend less than we have either and leave money on the table or spend that money poorly as the program is winding down, sunsetting, and passing the baton to green space. So this was a unanimous vote of the board and is widely supported for the 374 of the remaining dollars.
$374,000?
4,000, yes.
Okay.
And there are roughly 300 pages of your document in here.
Yes,
Very
yes, our
in-depth.
phase 1 contractor is incredibly thoughtful and thorough. So if that does seem like an overwhelming number, most of it, I think, is in the phase 1 analysis, which is really important when you acquire property to know you're not, I mean, we need that too. When the Open Land Trust signs on to a conservation easement, we sign on to protect a property forever. And if there's a phase 1 that has contamination, you know, that's some liability we're signing on to. So whether it's fee owned for the county or Open Land Trust easement or another land trust easement, that is a normal and very important part of due diligence. I do appreciate that it's included, but I recognize it makes your file downloads very cumbersome. Thank
That was
you.
interesting, yeah. So you might as well, we'll take a vote, and you might as well stay
Yeah,
for the
I'll stay
next
right
one.
here.
Any other discussion or question on this item? All right, can I have a vote by show of hands for those in favor? All right, unanimous, thank you. And my last item is 2025/10, an ordinance authorizing the county administrator to execute the necessary documents and provide funding for the fee simple purchase of real property identified as tax map serial number R600-029-300054 and 4 zeros, also known as Davis Road Fee. And can I have a motion, please?
Madam Chairman, is that your district?
That is Mr. Cunningham's district.
Oh,
It's
is he
right
here?
across the street from Sun City.
Yeah,
right?
is he here? I'll make a motion for him.
You can make the motion
Sure,
for him, and
okay.
I'm happy to second it. Yeah, he's not on there. Would you like to tell us about this one? There's another 300 pages. No, I'm
There are
not
another,
kidding.
I'm sure you read them to sleep. This
Absolutely.
property is 40 acres in Bluffton. It's in between two existing rural and critical fee-owned properties. Several of you all actually had the opportunity to visit those properties probably 2 years ago when we did a site visit. It's next to Okatee Regional Park and Evergreen. It backs up to a rural and critical property behind middle school in Bluffton, and is at the end of a road known as Davis Road, which is how it got its name. You'll see from the image that's on the screen, if you look at the forested properties to the right and left of the red box are rural and critical fee-owned properties. So this is a critical link in that Okatee Regional Park initiative, and we've had lots of conversations with county staff and with regional stakeholders, including Stormwater, which invested in one of the projects closer to 170, about this being a missing piece. To compare kind of what we know on the ground about this property in Bluffton, we actually looked at the Southeast Regional Conservation Blueprint, and this property showed up as an important missing link in the regional piece for water quality as well, because these are the headwaters of the Okatee River. And so you may not think about it like the headwaters that you see on the other side of 278, where you can actually see the water in the marsh, but this is an important critical link for water quality and for habitat. And so I just share all that to say it's really nice when the data and the real life that you see on the ground match up, and they do in this circumstance. Davis Road has had a longer history with the Rural and Critical Program than the previous property you just approved, but is similarly being recommended for purchase at $858,000, I believe, is on your ordinance. It would be a fee simple purchase. This property has been evaluated by Rural and Critical 3 times prior. It actually could be referred to once as the one that got away. Rural and Critical was very close to closing this property in 2019, and another buyer swooped in, and because we don't actually go under contract until approvals, this was taken off the proverbial table for purchase. So, but it's back, like a lot of good projects do come back, which is great, and we have the opportunity to purchase it now, and the Rural and Critical Board wholeheartedly recommends that you do so.
Because otherwise, this could be developed.
It is Zone T2 rural. It is not annexed into the town of Bluffton. There have been some conversations about annexation and just again, prospectively, an appraisal shouldn't ever assume a hypothetical. So the appraisal that you've received on the property assumes that it will not be annexed into the town of Bluffton. Bluffton has had some conversations and said they don't intend to annex it, but a council can't bind a future council. So that's today's story. It certainly could be developed with the demand for housing from a practical perspective. I'm not a, prospector, but I think the people that are would agree with that.
The appraisal reflects the T2.
The appraisal reflects the T2R.
Anybody else question or comment on this one?
I just want to comment that this is like a donut hole piece of property, and I'm looking forward to that one day because the old growth forest is next to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really looking for that whole intersection there in that area where you have a lot of urban development happening, but you got a nice area for the animals to go through and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that.
I am too. I think that's a great point to make. When there's an opportunity for a true urban forest around a population center, it's important for animal and plant species. It's also really important for people because that means that public access to a property like that is more immediate. And if you can drive 10 minutes and experience this type of old growth white oak forest that we can on the neighboring property, and you can access that, that's really value add for the quality of life of a major population center. I don't want to put words in the mouth of any other county departments because I will never do them justice, and I might say the wrong thing, so I'll take responsibility for what I'm about to say, but I believe also from a stormwater perspective, it is very important. Stormwater has invested in the neighboring property, and from a passive park perspective, the potential for future public access and kind of uplifting the neighboring properties are all improved by the acquisition of this one. The pond that you see in the property is about 5 acres in size, and it is now a fishing pond. It was mined previously. That's a question I got from Rural and Critical, so I'll mention that for you too.
Any other question or comment? All right, all in favor, show by raising your hand, please. In favor of this motion? Okay, congratulations, it's all yours, Rural and Critical. Thank you. It's on you, Ms.
All right, now we're going to go to number 13A, which is resolutions. 2025/01 is a resolution authorizing the county administrator to execute the documents necessary and to provide funds to the town of Hilton Head Island for their procurement of fee simple real property located on Hilton Head Island known as the Jonesville Road Track. It's PIN number R510007000091 0000, not to exceed the appraised value of the property. The physical impact is $2,187,000 from the Green Space Program Fund account, and then it just gives the account number for land acquisition. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Madam Chairman, yes, I'll second that. Also, a part of that motion should include, I think, the amendments that were made.
We have that. Yeah, we'll pass it down to
absolutely.
you. We'll pass it down to you.
It's got it.
It has,
So he's going to amend it.
yeah, we're going to have to amend
You
it.
made the motion.
We have a motion.
At the bottom, red?
Yes.
Okay, the language you read. And shall require that any funds received from grants, private, federal, or state funding be used solely to reimburse the expenditure of the Green Space Program. Okay?
So that, as to Councilman Glover's point, if by chance they receive future grants, it will
Back.
come, the money that might come in would come back to the Green Space Program. Okay. All right. So we have a motion and a second.
There was another, I don't know how critical this is now, but there was another amendment at that time, which basically said that any additional conservation funds received via grants or other sources will be returned to the green space. That's in there. And any grant in the applicants for grants and for the application to coordinate with the county as the owner to do the purchase. That was part of it too, right?
In certain instances, if the county is going to be applying for grants, then the different municipalities will cooperate with the counties in applying for those grants. But that's going to be certain circumstances, not every case.
So should that be a part of this motion?
The amended motion.
I think it's
That's in the amendment?
It's in there.
Okay, you got it?
Just go ahead, read it.
No, I mean, you got it in the amendment. I'm asking so I can make sure that it's included in there.
I believe it is.
Be safe, I would put that in there.
Well, it's here, I think Logan and then Tom seconded. It says to allow staff to work with the applicant for grants and for the applicant to cooperate with the county as the owner to do the purchase.
So how will we handle this? As an amendment to our first motion?
There was an amendment to it.
Just add that language to Councilman Rietz's
Statement.
statement.
And that's
And,
what
I
we
mean,
talked about in
that
natural
was
resource
the
meeting.
coming out of the committee.
Yeah.
Back to
Yeah. So
Okay,
if
Councilor
you would
Roots,
add
you wanna
that
add that?
to your motion, it's just this portion right here.
Did you get that?
Okay, this amendment to allow staff to work with the applicant for grants and for the applicant to cooperate with the county as the owner to do the purchase. Any grants received will come back to the Green Space Program.
Yeah.
Done?
We're going to ask that the Green Space Committee make that a condition as part of the recommendations for all such applications coming forward.
Sure, right.
I'll second the motion to amend it. He's amending the motion.
Well, he should have come out, yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay. By a show of hands,
And the amendment.
we're voting on the amendment? Okay. It passed. Now we're back to the main motion. You want-
So motioned,
You
Chairwoman?
need to read it again, the motion? Oh.
No.
Oh, wait. Oh, Mr. Passman? He isn't. Mr. Passman, can you hear us?
Joe?
Joe, could you hear us?
There he goes.
On that motion to amend? Can't hear us? Okay. Okay. All right. Now we go back to the original motion.
You have to take a vote on the main motion.
All right, we'll take
As
by
amended.
show of hands on the original motion. Joe can't hear us.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. All right.
Pretend he's
Raise your
yes.
hand.
I did. Can we keep it up?
Okay, that was 13A. Do we,
What, Brian?
Joe? He did raise his hand? Okay, all right, so
Need
it
that same
is
language for this
unanimous.
one.
Okay. All right, we're good to go on to the next one now? All right. By the way, we have Mr. Mark Davis here if anyone has questions on any of these, so I'm sorry I didn't introduce you before. We're on 13B. This is 2025/02, a resolution authorizing the county administrator to execute the documents necessary and to provide funds to contribute to their procurement of a fee simple real property located in Hilton Head Island, known as the William Hilton Head Parkway Tracks. There's PIN number R511. Could you put a picture up of those? 511-007-000-192E-0000. Another parcel, R511-007-000-192-000. Not, oh, I left one out. R511-007-000-060B00. That's all three of them. Not to exceed the appraised value of the property, which is $1,464,200, and that any funds received from future right-of-way acquisition, this is important, go back to the Green Space Program Fund. These are located along the highway, as you can see, and the committee and the Natural Resource Committee wanted to make sure that if in the future, if DOT had to acquire part of these parcels for future widening of the road, that money would go back to the Green Fund account. I will entertain a motion.
I so move, Madam Chairman.
Second that.
Second. Okay. Any discussion, questions?
Question.
Yes, sir?
In the previous resolution, money was to provide funds to the town of Hilton Head Island. Who is going to be the owner of this property? I don't see any language in there.
Yes,
Tom.
on which one? It said for their procurement.
B. No, I'm talking about B.
B. It's the same.
It's written to be the same, where Hilton Head would be the purchaser and the owner.
Where it says here, their procurement, that means they're buying it. They're going to own it.
Any other questions about this one? You can see it up there on the screen pretty clearly, and it's close to other parcels that Town of Hilton Head already owns. Okay, by show of hands, approval of this resolution? All in favor?
Joe's in favor.
Okay, Joe's in favor. Unanimous? Okay. All right, C, last one, 2025-03, a resolution to accept funding pursuant to the South Carolina Act 226 FY 2024-25 State Appropriation Act in the amount of $1,200,000 for the All Joy Boat Landing Improvement Project.
A motion?
I'll second that.
Okay. Discussion? Hearing none? All right.
Let me just say that this money is actually from our delegation from the state, especially from Mr. Weston Newton and Mr. Bill Herb Kurzman, who helped to bring the money and the funds to help us expand the All Joy boat landing that's so important, that area right there. So again, this is state money that has come to us through our representatives.
By show of hands to approve this resolution, please. And Joe raised his hand, all right. And Gerald Dawson is not on. All right, at this time, we are going to go in executive session.
Madam Chairman, before we go to the executive
Yes,
session,
sir.
the Natural Resource Committee did receive a recommendation not to pursue a piece of property. Should that come to this body here, or is it dead?
No, sir.
Okay.
We're done.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Thank you.
Chairwoman, could I say one more thing?
Before we go into executive session?
Yes,
Okay.
please. I want to give a shout out to two town council members here, Alex Brown, Tammy Becker, for being here. And I referenced 71 Shelter Cove, and I referenced the 26 acres in Mitchellville. Together, we worked together on those properties to put them in green space. My plea to you tonight is let's continue to work together on these type of things, and I tell you, we can accomplish a lot that way. Fair enough? Thank you. Thank you,
All right,
thank you.
we may or may not have anything coming out of executive session. I'm going to read to you the two things that we are going to talk about. 14A is pursuant to South Carolina Code, Section 30-4-70A2, receipt of legal advice where the legal advice relates to pending litigation. This is Cheryl A. Mundy and Margaret Devine versus Beaufort County Detention Center. And then B is pursuant to South Carolina Section Code 30-4-70A2, receipt of legal advice where the legal advice relates to pending litigation, Sanders Shepherd versus Beaufort County Parks and Recreation. So we are going to go into executive session, and there may or may not be anything coming out of that, but that is all we have left for business tonight. And thank you for
We
such
need
a
a
nice
motion
crowd.
to go into
I need a
executive
motion, okay.
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second to go in executive session?
I'll second that.
All right. Without objection, we're going to executive session. And again, thank you for coming tonight.
We'll be back out here by 8? Yeah.
Coming back out here?
Come on, okay.
Actions from executive session. Do I hear a motion?
Yeah, I have one.
Well,
Sorry. Okay, that's for, okay, sorry, I
Wanna
thought this was
read this,
first.
Mr.
Sorry.
McMillan?
Sorry, no,
I know,
okay.
that's
you have a
fine.
motion about something else?
No, I have the first thing we talked
Oh,
about.
the first one, okay, let him go first, I'm sorry. Councilman Gillen, the first one that we,
Yeah.
on the agenda.
It was so long ago, we forgot.
Yes.
In the matter of Sandra Shepard versus Beaufort County Parks and Recreation, I move that council accept and approve the settlement agreement and authorize the county administrator to execute all necessary documents related to the settlement agreement reached in mediation on January 22nd, 2025. Need a second for that, please.
I'll second it.
We have a second?
I seconded it.
I did.
Okay.
By show of hands, all in favor? Okay. Joe? Could you hear us? We voted on the one regarding Shepherd? Okay, all right. We'll move on to the next one.
Cheryl Monday et al. Versus Beaufort County. One, I move that council authorize the deputy county attorney and our outside counsel for the case of Cheryl Monday et al. Versus Beaufort County to negotiate a settlement for an amount as discussed in executive session, and the county administrator be authorized to execute a settlement agreement in this case for an amount as discussed in executive session. Number two, additionally, I move that council authorize the deputy county attorney and our outside counsel for the case of Beaufort County versus the SCIRF to negotiate a settlement for the terms as discussed in executive session, and that the county administrator be authorized to execute a settlement agreement in this case for the terms as discussed in executive session.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Bartholomew, by show of hands, all in agreement? Okay.
No, I'm going to say no.
Joe's okay.
Joe's okay? All right. It's unanimous. All right.
No?
No, one objection.
Okay, one
Okay.
objection.
One objection. Councilman Ritz. If there's no further business, we will adjourn. Thank you.
Another motion?
No, she did both of them together.
I did both
Both of them
motions.
She
together.
did them together. Yeah.
Super motion.
All right, thank you.
Good
Thank
to
you
see
for those who
everybody.
stayed.
That's great.